Welcome back, guys. I'm Gabriel. This is obviously my channel. Like it, subscribe it. Now, this is a spoiler review for Batman vs Superman. So I have seen the movie. I've seen it twice at the cinemas. Obviously, if you see a movie twice, you have a pretty good understanding that I do endorse it. I have my laptop open because there are some notes here that I have to go through. Not notes, but points. Now, some people have seen Batman vs Superman and they've gotten quite confused about it, over it, as to what happens. First of all, yes, Superman is dead. Superman dies in the end. Okay? He is dead. Yes, it rises, the soil raises off his coffin, but Superman, make no mistake about it, is dead. I know a lot of critics hated this movie. In fact, it got 29% on Rotten Tomatoes by critics. Those critics can kiss my ass. Now, I'll explain a few things what the critics did not understand. Batman vs Superman is a DC comic movie. It's not a Marvel movie. A lot of people are simply used to watching movies with superheroes where they're joking around. For instance, Thor and Iron Man and Thor would be having a fight and there'd be jokes and laughs in between. It doesn't work that way in real life. When you're actually having a fight, when you're actually fighting with someone, there's no jokes in between fights. When you're fighting aliens, you don't have jokes in between all that crap. That's all bullshit. What DC has done is they've grounded the superheroes and given us a very realistic look. Realistic in the sense of, if these guys really existed, this is what it would be like. It wouldn't be all fun and games, chocolates and popcorns. So let's start with Batman vs Superman. Yes, it's dark. Yes, it's gritty. And yes, it had me on the edge of my seat both times that I saw it. The second time, I saw and picked up a few more things that I did in the first time. Let's get started with this. Now, a lot of people, let's start with, Batman. First of all, this Batman is an older Batman. So what you're used to seeing in Christopher Nolan's Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy, when Christian Bale was playing Batman, this isn't that dude. That was a younger Batman. This Batman that's portrayed by Ben Affleck, and oh my god, how well has he portrayed Batman. Now, Batman, if you actually do read the comics, or if you know if you have a little understanding of Batman, back earlier when in the 40s, Batman used to go around killing people. Yeah, Nolan made movies where I don't use guns. I don't believe in guns. And Catwoman's like, well, that whole gun thing I'm not so sure about. But that Batman didn't use guns. This Batman is a Frank Miller type of Batman. Who's Frank Miller? He wrote the Batman comics in the 80s. He's very gritty, he's very dark, and he's killing and whatnot. He carries guns. So get used to it. This Batman will kill, this Batman carries guns. If you don't like it, you can go watch something else. But this is a gritty Batman. And I'll tell you why he's a gritty Batman. Where you pick up the storyline in Batman vs Superman, it's actually ending at the end of Man of Steel. So you've got to watch Man of Steel to make sense of the beginning. So he's saying Superman has just been introduced to the world. He's having a fight with Zod, and Batman's persona being Bruce Wayne. He owns a few buildings in Metropolis, and one of his buildings goes down, and obviously his friends are dead. He's holding on to that little girl. It's a pretty good scene. Now, 10 years before Superman was introduced in Batman's life, this Batman had a best mate called Robin. Now, you may have seen older movies. If you're just a movie Batman fan, there's a movie called Batman and Robin, and the Adam West television series had Robin with him as well. So that Robin in this Batman's life died 10 years ago. Now, Zack Snyder is the maker, he is the director of Batman vs Superman. So when I refer to Zack Snyder, he's the director. Zack Snyder has not cleared as to how Robin died, but if you go back in the comics, the way Robin died was at the hands of the Joker, who is coming in the August movie, The Suicide Squad. Now, some of you may have seen my Suicide Squad reaction to the actual third trailer that I did. Now, that Joker, if it sticks in with that storyline, and they are entitled to change their stories, it's their creative material, they can do what they like with it, but from a DC fan's perspective, if you ask my son who is a DC fan, if you ask my mates, they will tell you, yeah, Robin died at the hands of Joker. and Robin comes back as Nightwing. Now, I'm not gonna delve into that right now because that's not important to Batman versus Superman. But you've got to understand what made Batman so angry. He lost his best friend, his parents were murdered in front of him, he's got absolutely no one. If you realize he hasn't actually got a girlfriend in the movie either, so she's obviously gone off and doing her own thing. This Batman, Bruce Wayne, is just a playboy, sleeping around with women and whatnot. So he is your proper Batman. Now let's get to Superman. Superman is very young in this. Young not in the sense of age, but if you actually watch Man of Steel, when he actually has that fight with Faroa is one of the kryptonites that came with General Zod. In that fight scene in the movie when she's fighting with Superman, she actually mentions to him, "You are weak, son of Al." What she meant by those little dialogues from the prequels are very important to put in place, because later on Superman will fight Batman, and Batman is a hardened fighter. He's been fighting for 25 odd years with criminals, with supervillains. He's locked up the Joker, Scarecrow, Bane, you name it. He's gone through all these people, he's done it. Batman knows how to fight. Superman is just a farm boy with amazing abilities, and I love Superman. He's got amazing abilities, but he doesn't know how to fight. He has no idea. He hasn't been trained in the art of war by Ra's al Ghul like Batman has been trained. So when this Superman meets Batman and they actually fight, in terms of experience in fighting, Superman is very inexperienced, which is why he actually gets killed. Because when you think about it, he flies into Doomsday with the spear made of kryptonite. He could have very easily given that to Wonder Woman. But that's the inexperience. You have to understand that's his inexperience. Back to Batman now. Now this Batman, now hopefully you're understanding why he's greedy and why he's angry and why he's into guns. Now we've got to understand why Batman hates Superman. Now remember that security guard that he lost his legs and stuff? He was sending him mails. Now this is all played by Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor is a genius. What Lex Luthor did was he realized, Lex Luthor knows who Batman is. Make no doubt about that. He knows it's Bruce Wayne. And I have a feeling, a sneaky suspicion that he also knows who Superman is. It wouldn't be that hard when you think about it. Every time Lois is in trouble, Superman shows up. So obviously they know that Lois and Superman has a relationship. Lois lives with Clark Kent. Clark Kent looks very similar to Superman. Doesn't look exactly like Superman, but very similar with glasses. And the personality traits are a little different. He's more human in his approach with people because he is Clark Kent, he ain't Superman. But when he takes on the Superman persona, he is a little different. So for someone with the intelligence of Lex Luthor, I wouldn't be surprised that he actually already knows. That hasn't been revealed yet, but that we'll find out in the next installment. Now moving forward with that, he pits Batman against Superman, and the way he does that is all those letters that Superman is receiving about Batman, the Batman being evil, he's branding people, he's a vigilante, you've got to go out and get him, someone's got to stop him, someone's got to put an end to this. Superman is falling for that. He's reading all this, he's like, yeah, this dude is a menace to society, and what does Superman do? Like you see him saving lots of people and whatnot. So it's not like he actually wants to go and stop Batman, but there is an animosity there, some sense of animosity. Batman doesn't like Superman because Superman killed thousands of people, man. Like tens of thousands, maybe. I don't know. They haven't given a body count yet. Maybe they will in the future if it fits into the storyline and they need to. But Superman has killed thousands of people. He is a threat, and Batman says if there is a 1% chance that he is a threat to humanity, he must be stopped at all price, or something along those lines. So that's why Batman is against it. And in the middle of that, Lex Luthor is sending Batman letters saying this and that, and just pitting one against the other. Now, that's why they actually have animosity, and it's very easy for Batman to go after Superman, because he knows that if he doesn't, who else will? Hopefully Suicide Squad. I mean, that would be absolutely amazing, but that's just in my fantasies of comic book superheroes. Now, let's get into the car chase that Batman has. That car chase was absolutely amazing. Y'all gotta watch that movie just for that car chase scene alone. I hate car chases in the movies, but this car chase was absolutely amazing. I just had to bring that in because that happens, prior to the fight of Batman versus Superman. Now, let me just have a look if I'm going in order. I'm a bit off order, but I'm just telling you what's coming into my head. Now, you've got now Batman, you've got Superman, who are going to be fighting against each other, and it's set up by Lex Luthor. Now, the other criticism that, and a lot of memes I've seen, and some are quite funny, that because his mum's name is Martha, like, you'll stop fighting, whatnot. You've got to understand, Batman is a very twisted individual. Bruce Wayne, what was the last word? No, they show you this in the movie. What was the last word his father said to Bruce before he passed away? He looks at Bruce, opens his left hand and says, Martha. But he wasn't speaking to Bruce. He was looking at Bruce. He's just pointed in that direction. The last word he ever heard his dad say was Martha. Now, when Superman starts screaming, Martha, you've got to save Martha, obviously it's going to resonate with him. It kind of like, you think about all the hurt, all the pain, how twisted and sick Batman has become, and all of a sudden someone is screaming his mum's name in the middle of a fight. It stopped him. It didn't stop him from it made him bleed. Hey, Superman bleeds, and Batman makes Superman bleed. In the middle of that fight, he obviously stops and is like, what are you talking about? Why did you say that name? Why did you say that name? And he's like saying, that's my mother, you've got to save her. And that's when Batman puts it all together. Now remember, Batman is a detective. He's the greatest detective in the DC comic book genre. He puts everything together with the spear in his hand saying, oh shit, Lex has played us. Lex has played us. He already has something against Lex. He knows Lex is up to something. Remember that car chase? He knows that it's gone to Lex's building. He knows Lex is not that top of a bloke. Now that's what stops them from actually fighting, and that scene actually made perfect sense if you understood exactly what Batman had been through. This is actually the movie maker's fault, because Zack Snyder just took it for granted that the average moviegoer going into seeing Batman versus Superman would see Batman, hear the name Martha, and would react. All us comic fans were like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But the average moviegoer, which is probably the 80% of the public out there, they just want to go out and see a good movie, and good on them. Thank you for your support. When they saw that, they were confused, and maybe that should have been cleared up a little more. But that's one of the very few faults I found in the movie. Not fault from a fan's point of view, just from a general public's viewing point of view. If you put all that aside, there's not one joke in the movie. I mean, I can't think of any joke. Now let's go to the scene where Superman discovers that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Man, how amazing is that? How well was that scene played out? How does he discover? He just hears them speak. He hears Bruce Wayne and Alfred Pennyworth speaking to each other through the phones, and he's like, oh, well, that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Makes sense. He's from Gotham. Because remember, when he comes in and the other photographer's like, you must be new in town. That's Bruce Wayne. Like, obviously he tells him exactly who Bruce Wayne was. Wonder Woman. How good is Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman? When I first read that Wonder Woman was going to be in the movie, there is a Wonder Woman in the movie, I had no preference. I don't care who Wonder Woman was going to be. I was very, very apprehensive that there is a Wonder Woman in the movie. Obviously, from a fan's perspective, I knew that it was coming. I have to accept it. Now, when I look at Black Widow, the way Marvel has done Black Widow, I love it. I love the way Black Widow is portrayed. But this Wonder Woman, man, she's a badass, man. She kicks ass. There's a scene where she's in the middle of the fight with Doomsday, and she falls down, she goes backwards, she looks at her sword, and she laughs. It's like, and she goes like this, and she gets back up. That scene wasn't written. That's actually her impersonation of Wonder Woman. That kicks ass. When Wonder Woman comes on screen as Wonder Woman, you can't help yourself but be excited. I'm an adult. I didn't start screaming or clapping or anything, but I'm telling you right now, inside my heart was... It was awesome, man. It was great the way she was introduced. Now here's another thing that a lot of people have problems with. When Superman looks at Batman and goes, is she with you? Batman's like, I thought she was with you. A lot of people are saying, hang on, Batman, you know exactly who she is because you just emailed her, dude. Yeah, he emailed her, but he knows that she's over 100 years old with the body of a 20-year-old. She's some sort of an immortal. Superman is some sort of an immortal. They must know each other. Now, let's have a look at that email. Let's quickly visit the email scene. A lot of people hate the way certain characters were introduced. I'll give you my opinion. The first introduction was Flash. I thought it was okay. Everyone loves it. I thought it was okay. It's very dodgy, camera footage of a store being robbed and Flash just showing his powers. I thought it was okay. It's portrayed by Ezra Miller. I think he will do a great job. The second one was, I think from memory, the second was Aquaman, and a lot of people are saying, oh, it wasn't that good, What are you talking about, man? That was amazing when he comes out under the water through the ship or whatever wreckage he's in. His hair comes forward, goes back, almost like a god or something, and then he just swims away at an astronomical speed. I love that. That was my favorite. And then Cyborg being made with the boombox. That was actually quite boring. It was interesting choice of the actor. His names are coming to me now. He's in Terminator 2 as well. So, but yeah, I wasn't that impressed with the Cyborg, the way he's introduced. But that's basically how Cyborg is made. It's a boring story. It's good that they're not going to make a movie on Cyborg Origins on how it's made, because it is quite boring. Obviously, we're missing Green Lantern. He may come in Justice League. I don't know what the plans are with Green Lantern. Ryan Reynolds did a okay job playing Green Lanterns in the actual Green Lantern movie, but the movie, bombed at the box office, and I understand why. It wasn't that good a movie. And we're left with Wonder Woman. Now, Wonder Woman obviously knows that these other people exist in the league. And then now, obviously, Doomsday comes. Now, Doomsday is created through General Zod, right? Now, there is a chamber in there that actually brings Kryptonites back to life. Hear me, guys. Lex Luthor is in possession of some sort of a chamber that brings dead Kryptonites back to life. Who's our favorite Kryptonite? Superman, you guessed right. Who's our favorite Kryptonite that's dead at the moment in that universe? Superman. Now here's a bit of a spanner in the works, if you may. In the comics, when Superman dies and he comes back to life, he wears a black suit. I think it looks awesome. I think it looks crazy. I love the black suited Superman. He's a little more edgy, he's a little rough, and now, speculation. I know it's a spoiler review, this is future speculation. IMDb has released cast and crew for Justice League, which is the next movie, and Justice League Part 2. In Justice League, Lois Lane exists. She is in the cast and crew, in the credits. In Justice League Part 2, she's not there. You draw your own conclusion, but it's leading me to believe that I think Lois Lane will die in Justice League, which may trigger Superman and may make him go against Justice League. So it'll be pretty cool to watch Justice League versus Superman, who has now a bit of experience, who now understands that he's got weaknesses, understands what his weakness is. If he is pitted up against Flash, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Batman, it would be amazing, but I don't think it's going to happen. But hey, that's a good storyline, isn't it? Yeah, they should come and talk to me about all this. But moving forward, so that, I hope, breaks everything down in terms of Batman versus Superman. So we know Superman will come back to life. We know that. That soil rising on his coffin, I can't remember any comic doing that. Maybe that's some sort of creativity that Zack Snyder has thought of putting into Justice League. Now, moving forward in that universe, there is a solo Batman movie which has been confirmed. Wonder Woman movie has already begun filming, and Justice League movie has already begun filming as well. Now, I think Wonder Woman has now been postponed so that Justice League can finish and then Wonder Woman will be completed. But moving forward in the DC universe, in the DC comic universe of superhero movies, I'm actually quite excited with where things are going. If you compare this with what Marvel is coming out with, now I have done a fan reaction of Doctor Strange. I wasn't impressed at all. I honestly thought it was actually quite kiddish. Now, after watching Batman vs Superman, I went and watched Avengers at my house, and it looked almost cartoonish. And I've made a few Facebook comments on fan pages saying, hey man, that looks kind of cartoonish. And people have attacked me. They've been very vile. They're like, hey, come on man, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, but when you really sit down and look at the Avengers action scenes now, after watching Batman vs Superman, it actually looks cartoonish, like too much CGI. Not that there's no CGI in Batman vs Superman. It is all CGI, but I think it looks more intense and more realistic and more gripping because it's shot mainly in dark and grey kind of areas. we can give thanks to Batman for that, because he is the Dark Knight. It is night versus day, Batman versus Superman. Is it my favorite comic book movie? Yes, it is. No, it's not. The Dark Knight Returns is my favorite comic book movie, followed by Batman vs Superman, and then X-Men First Class. So those are my top three. But hey man, they're constantly changing. At the moment, I think I'm gonna sit like that, and I think I need to watch Batman vs Superman again, maybe 2 or 3 more times, just because I'm such a huge Batman and Superman fan. Now, quick look at Jeremy Irons. He plays Alfred Pennyworth. Great work, absolutely great. The last time I remember him doing something so cool and so calm about things was Die Hard with a Vengeance, which was the 3rd installment in the Die Hard movie series, which was actually a pretty good movie, and then went downhill after that. Who are we missing? There's Alfred. Lex Luthor. I did not like the Lex Luthor impersonation. Oh, it's almost like a joke. It's like we've got the Riddler trying to act like Lex Luthor. Now in the end he does get shaved, and when he holds on to those bars and says the bell has been rung, the bell has been rung. Now 2 more things I'll tell you really quickly. When he says the bell has been rung, that means he has been in contact with Darkseid. Darkseid is a DC supervillain that goes around conquering planets. Now, for Lex Luthor to say that the bell has been rung, this is just speculation now. Darkseid may have looked into Earth and would have thought, who are my 2 big nemesis? Who can stop me from conquering Earth? Batman and Superman. There is a possibility that maybe he made deals with Lex Luthor saying, hey, you help me destroy Batman and Superman, and then I can come and basically conquer Earth, and you can rule on Earth for me. That's just a speculation, but that's quite likely, because when you remember, if you remember Batman's dream sequence, which wasn't really a dream, it was more of a premonition. He's in another universe, and and then Superman comes down and kills, with the rays, kills the 2 people next to Batman and takes the hood off, and he's really angry with Batman. It's quite possible that's something that's going to happen in the future, because that could happen in Justice League if Lois dies, and Superman would go crazy and be like, no, F you all. I'm actually going to go and sort this thing out. Because of you guys, Lois is no longer around. He could be ticked off. The other thing is when there's a flashback and Flash has come from future. So Flash has traveled in time from the future to Batman's current position, and he gives him this message along the lines of, you were right about him. Lois is the key. You were right about him. I'm too soon, aren't I? I think I'm too soon. You have to come find us. So Flash from the future comes and tells Batman, I'm too soon, aren't I? You have to come find us. You were right about him. Lois is the key. So I'm expecting Lois Lane to be a central figure in the upcoming Justice League movie. I think it's coming in November 2017. I'm not too sure about that. You may have to Google that up for yourself. But yeah, so that's Flash coming from the future. I'm pretty sure when the Blu-ray edition comes out of Batman vs Superman with the extended 30 minutes of footage that was taken off, hopefully that will make a little more sense. I don't know, but we just have to wait to watch the Justice League movie for that scene to make sense. So just like you have to watch Justice League movie for that scene to make sense, I would strongly suggest that you watch Man of Steel if you've already seen Batman vs Superman and haven't seen Man of Steel. Or even if you go back and watch it, there are little things like that you will pick up about Superman that you'll be like, alright, Superman has like all this super strength, superpower, but he's not that great a fighter. And Farrell makes it very clear when she says, you are weak, son of Al. Al is his dad, and Al is his son. He is the surviving member of the Al clan. That is my review for Batman vs Superman. Do I give it thumbs up? I give it 20 thumbs up. Like, go watch it, guys. It's such an amazing movie. Don't go with a closed mind, and don't think that you'll be sitting down there having popcorn, laughing. And those movies are great when you can have popcorn and laugh. This is just simply not one of those movies. Go in and enjoy this movie for what it is. Very intense, and I loved it. Now, you guys know the drill. You're watching this on my channel, just like and subscribe. And yeah, make comments if you like. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care.